In this video, I'm going to be giving out some of my tips and tricks to grinding and getting better at Hive Skywars. Let's start by breaking up this video into three main sections. The first section will be strategy, the second will be settings and basic tips, and the final section will be PvP and game sense. There are three ways you can play a game of Skywars solos that will set you up for success. The first and easiest method is to rush mid as soon as possible, loot up, then fight. Most of the time mid is uncontested, meaning there's so much loot and powerful items that for sure will get you the win. After looting up, never just stay at mid. Always rush weaker players, such as people with less armor, people still at their spawn island, and less experienced players. At first, this method may be difficult, but after enough hard work, you will surely see improvement in your gameplay and your Skywars level. After rushing mid seems too easy for you, the next strategy on my list is what I like to call the side island strat. It's a little more difficult than rushing mid because you don't get all of the powerful loot early on. My general rule of thumb is to bridge to the first side island, make sure I have full redstone and half diamond armor, then rush the nearest person to you. This strategy requires a lot more PvP and tactical skill, and is a very effective way of winning Skywars. After wiping out your first rush, make sure you loot and continue the rush heavy pace. Try to aim for full diamond before the last three fights. My personal favorite strategy is to side rush right off of your spawn island. This method requires a firm understanding of PvP as well as mastering the flow of Skywars. After side rushing, fight more people. It's very similar to the previous strategy, but different in the sense that you aren't mining as much. Loot from your kills and not from the ground. After you have wiped out a significant amount of players, I aim for about 4 to 5 kills per game, then you can start looting from mid and from ores to ensure you have diamond armor and the necessary tools to secure your win. Section number 2. Settings and basic tips. Everyone has a personal preference for settings. There's many things that determine what settings are optimal for you. For my personal device, PC, many people recommend an FOV of around 75 to 90 and a sensitivity of around 10 to 25. But might not be what works for you. Start somewhere in the middle, like 15 sensitivity and 80 FOV. If that doesn't work, lower or raise the number in increments of 5 until you fine-tune your settings to what works best for you. For console and mobile players, you want a really high FOV and a high sensitivity due to movement being your most common disabling factor. For most people should have their sensitivity around 60 and their FOV in the 100 to 110 range. Now let's get into some basic tips for Skywars. Speed bridging. Speed bridging is probably the most important skill to learn for Skywars and many other games too. There are many great tutorials for speed bridging all across YouTube. It's a very easy skill that can help your gameplay a ton. Sadly, you can't speed bridge on mobile if you're using touch controls and not split controls. Other very important tips are things such as know when to play aggressive and know when to play defensive. If you are lower than 5 to 6 hearts and know you're going to die, run. But don't run stupidly. Hug bridges and gaps between islands. Hold your ground. Your enemy will be too afraid to cross because they could easily be knocked into the void. The final section is PvP. PvP is the main base of many games on the Hive, but that doesn't mean it's easy. It can take a very long time to get good at and master PvP. Here are some tips for beginners to get better at PvP. CPS. CPS is the measurement of clicks that you can get in 1 second. Many people think that if you click faster, you're going to win fights. But no, there are many other ways to achieve the same results without fast CPS. Clicking methods. There are many clicking methods for PC, but the three most common are butterfly clicking, jitter clicking, and drag clicking. It takes a long time to master a specific clicking method, but it can boost your PvP skill significantly. I personally do a mix of butterfly clicking and drag clicking. In my opinion, drag clicking is very useful for placing blocks, but not as good as butterfly clicking or jitter clicking for PvP. Look up some tutorials for each clicking method and see which one works best for you. Block placement. Although block placement is more of an intermediate skill, it's still very important to get good at, to important and good to practice early on. Using blocks to your advantage can easily turn the tide of any fight. There are many different types of block placements, ranging from spamming when you run, to block clutching, to using blocks to take zero knockback. Strafing. Strafing is the act of moving side to side to cause your opponent to miss more hits. Strafing is really important when it comes to PvP and skill. In my personal experience, long side to side strides are good to pick up players, and short bursts and unpredictable patterns are really good for holding combos. Now let's get into the advanced PvP tips. If we can get this video to 50 likes, I will make more in-depth videos about these techniques. Hit selecting. Hit selecting is a method of PvP where you allow your opponent to get the first hit, then you hit right after hearing the hit sound, causing you to hit the ground first, therefore starting a combo. Jump resetting. A jump reset is essentially timing a jump perfectly to take virtually no knockback and in some cases allow you to keep some momentum. Counter strafing. Counter strafing is another method to take less KB. Counter strafing is alternating left and right very quickly, allowing yourself to take less, if not no, knockback when hit. Other methods of taking less KB are things such as head hitters and the zero KB block trick I mentioned earlier. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. It helps me out a ton. Please like and subscribe. See you in the next one.